Hi, welcome back to Movie Review Mom. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me while I talk about movies. My goal here at Movie Review Mom is to give you the scoop on the movie making quality and the film content so you can make the best decision for yourself and your family as to whether or not you want to spend your time or money or both watching a specific movie. So, what's the specific movie today? Well, it is Run, Hide, Fight. This movie is currently available on YouTube as well as on the Daily Wire streaming service. So here's the deal. The movie is rated R. It's an hour and 49 minutes. And the movie review mom grade I'm giving it is a B plus. And I'll explain why. I'll give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, as well as themes worth talking about, and even some recommendations of some other movies that I think you might be interested in. Okay, so in a quick nutshell, in an active shooter situation, you basically have three choices: run, hide, or fight, right? And that's what this movie is about. It's an action thriller that touches on an extremely sensitive subject, a school shooting. Because this movie is being brought to streaming by the very conservative talk show channel, The Daily Wire, liberal film critics are trashing this movie, giving it an incredibly low score on several different websites. For example, on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 30% score, but audiences are giving it an impressive 92%. So there's a little bit of a disconnect. Similar scores from other liberal film critics on other sites show the same very biased disparity between the experts, the film critics, and the rest of us real people. So I think that that's really interesting and also unfair. So when you go to any of these film review sites, you might want to take the score for this movie with a little grain of salt. In other words, make your own decision. Politics aside, this film packs a punch. So if social media buzz sells movie tickets, then the Daily Wire is off to a very good start. It's their very first film to be released by their media company, which includes political talk show hosts like Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, and Michael Knowles. The film actually launched on Ben Shapiro's birthday, January 15th. When I heard that this media company was actually going to get into the entertainment industry, I just kind of assumed that their movies would be religious in tone to offer a kinder, gentler version of family friendly entertainment. So, wow, was I surprised? This movie was not at all what I expected. But having said that, I actually enjoyed it a lot. But let me give you some tips for parents because it's not for everyone. Like I said, the movie is rated R, partly because of the profanity and the million F bombs that are in the movie. There is a lot of violence with guns and knives and lots of bloody deaths. So the content is really not intended for young children. There are explosions, fires, destruction. It's a lockdown situation at school with very dangerous intruders and people in very perilous situations. I mean, life and death situations. And then finally, there's one scene where a woman takes off her shirt because the bad guys tell her to, and but she's mostly covered, so you don't see a whole lot of stuff. Now, some themes that are worth talking about with your kids and other people are courage versus cowardice, sacrifice and selflessness, the power of social media, family, bureaucracy in the American school system, the Second Amendment, and hope. Now, let me give you the long list of things that I really did like about the movie. First of all, Isabel May is probably new to most viewers as she recently made her debut in 2018 on the Netflix sitcom called Alexa and Katie. She gives a fierce performance in this show, and I think if she wants to have a career in action movies, she's off to a good start. In addition to the young lead that she is, there's a cast of equally talented young actors that I'd like to see more from, like Eli Brown, Ollie Charlatan, and Cyrus Arnold. Thomas Jane, Treat Williams, and Rhoda Mitchell are the leading adults in the story. But it's really those young, talented actors who own the show and steal the scenes. The casting displays a lot of diversity, just like real high schools in America today. And there's almost nonstop action once the protagonist gets to school in the morning on a regular school day. You really feel the tension and it just builds and builds. It's extremely intense and it keeps you wondering how you would react in similar situations. And in fact, I was really impressed with the writing that demonstrated some of the good decisions that this young girl made while she was in the middle of this horrible situation. If you're a fan of the Second Amendment in the United States Constitution, like I am, you'll be very pleased to see that the movie illustrates very well that the problem isn't the gun, but the person behind the gun. The movie was written and directed by Kyle Rankin, and the movie's title takes its inspiration from a side story between a mother and a daughter. And that element of the movie I thought was quite touching. No spoilers, I'm not going to tell you what that's all about. The movie felt very realistic, and even though it is a very sensitive subject, and some people are saying too soon, I thought that it painted a realistic picture and offered some ideas for teenagers that might watch it as to what they could do to get out of this type of a situation. There were, of course, some things that I didn't like. First of all, it doesn't give you a lot of backstories to explain the motivations of the various villains. A little bit, but more would have been better, I think. Some of the villains and their acting moments were very over the top. But in a situation like this, I think everybody's emotions would be very heightened. The police department, unfortunately, is portrayed as almost useless. So that's disappointing. There are some cringe-worthy acting moments, particularly with some of the extras, where I was just like, oh, some of the special effects look fake, like some of the fire and explosions and that kind of stuff. But I'm grateful that nobody was harmed in real life during the filming of the movie. All right, that's it for this movie. Let me give you some recommendations of a couple of other movies you might want to check out if you really liked this movie. The first is obviously Die Hard with Bruce Willis. He's actually in a very similar situation as the protagonist in this movie, where he's an innocent bystander and then decides to take action to protect the lives of other people. The next recommendation is a very different kind of movie, but it's a true story of an elementary school shooting and bomb that actually went off. It's called the Cokeville Miracle. It's a very powerful and very touching movie. I actually sat in a lecture with the director of the movie and then got to talk with him for quite a while afterwards. And he shared so many of the real life touching things and miracles that occurred during the filming of this movie and with the characters or the real people that are featured in this story. So if you've never heard of that, you might want to check it out. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. It's so easy and free to simply subscribe, like the channel, and even comment down below. All of those things really help me to build my channel, and I appreciate your support. And then also, thank you to those who are going over to Patreon to support me there. If you watch this movie, I hope you enjoy it, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.